The phrase "organise your finances" can send a shiver down many people's spines and can strike fear into the hearts of those who don't know what they're doing, but it can be made simpler. So step one on getting your finances sorted is having a budget. This might seem obvious, but having a budget is an essential part of getting your finances sorted. So there's a lot of different ways that you can have your budget, and it depends on how much you want to automate it, how long you want to spend on it, and how comprehensive you want to be with your budget. If you're really struggling with budgeting, then a great place to go to is the Money Advice Service, and on there they have a lot of different tools and advice and guidance on how to budget effectively. They also have a tool where you can input all of your expenses and all of your expenditure, and it will help you to create a flashy new budget which you can then use to keep track of your finances and your expenses to ensure that you're getting more in than you're getting out each month, and that ultimately is the start here. That's method number one of budgeting. Number two, if you like more of a physical approach and you're much more hands-on and you like doing things and seeing things, you could use a cash envelope method. So by this, you will need to have how much you want to spend each month, and then you can put cash into different envelopes every single month for different categories and different expense categories, and then once you've spent the cash in that envelope, that's it, you're done. You don't spend any more on that at the moment. It might be a bit more impractical at the moment due to COVID and due to less cash and going more towards a cashless society, but that's one of Dave Ramsey's old budgeting methods. Number three is a good old spreadsheet. Now, I like spreadsheets, but they can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're not entirely sure what you're doing and you don't know what to put in, and lots of formula and stuff. But happily, there's a few different templates which are really, really good and really easy to use and cover everything you could ever want to cover, and they're customizable. So I'll leave a link to those in the description. So if you want to download and get involved in a spreadsheet, then it's already done for you. Click that down below. Number four here is a budgeting app or a savings app. So there's loads of good ones out there, and I'm planning to do a little review on them in the future to see which ones are best, because I've not tested out the full range out myself, but I know there's a lot out there like Emma, Money Dashboard, Plum. There's literally lots out there. But again, if you want a more kind of automated approach, if you want to look at your phone, you can do that. It categorizes your spending for you. Equally, there are bank accounts that can do this for you as well, such as Monzo. And there's one that I'm forgetting there, but you can use these if you want to kind of manage your budget from the tap of your phone, so that as your money goes in, it can be budgeted. You can automatically kind of adjust your spending, you can round up things, you can categorize things. It's really customizable and it can all be done from your phone. The important thing with your budget is that you stick to it and that you don't go over it, and that if, for example, your income increases, that your spending stays the same or it adjusts by a kind of reasonable amount. If you find yourself spending more than you are getting in, then there's always ways to cut down on your expenses and see if you can reduce those, and budgeting is a good way to see where you're spending the most and where your money is actually going. Once you've got your budget sorted, the next thing you need to do is to build up a small emergency fund. We can build up a bigger emergency fund a bit further down the line, but this is just to cover you in case anything bad happens to you over the next 1 to 3 months. Once you've got your budget, that should tell you how much that you spend per month or per week, or however you're going to do your budget. And then if you build up an emergency fund of say 3 months expenses maximum for now, that should cover you in case anything majorly goes wrong and then you have to kind of start all over again, sort of thing. So in terms of your emergency fund, places that you can put this in a savings account, you can put this in a cash ISA, or you can put this in the premium bonds. These are the three main places that I would say that is best for your emergency fund. The key thing here is that it's accessible, so that if something does happen, you can quickly access your savings and get yourself back on the right track. When you're getting a savings account, or when you're getting a cash ISA, if this is the place that you're choosing to get it, make sure that your money is not tied in over like 3 years or whatever, and that you can actually withdraw it if you need it, because otherwise that defeats the point of having your emergency fund there in the first place. The next thing you need to consider once you've got your short-term emergency fund and you've got your budget is debt. So by debt, this is anything like on finance or anything which is accumulating interest and coming off your expenses each month. So if you are struggling to pay debt, full stop, and you are really struggling, you can visit a charity called Stepchange. They help give kind of debt advice and that sort of thing for free, and they are a really, really great resource to use. So I'll leave a link to them in the description. If you are in a position to start paying off your debt, there's two main methods that you can use. So the first one is debt avalanche. So this is where you pay off your highest interest rate first, If you start paying off the highest interest rate debt first, you put everything that you've got and prioritize that, it's going to reduce the debt and mean that you're paying off more than you're getting in interest each month. Because at the moment, if your debt is accumulating and getting more and more interest each month, it's going to compound and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So by focusing laser-like on that high interest debt, eventually the repayments spiral and spiral and spiral until it's gone. And then you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one, so on and so forth. This can be a very, very efficient way of paying off your debt. However, it can feel like it's a bit of a drag to begin with to pay off the first one, depending on how big the debt is. The second one is the debt snowball. So this is where you pay off the smallest debt first in hopes of getting a psychological impact. So if you're quite a psychological, emotional person and you just want that weight lifted off you, then the debt snowball can be a really, really good one. So say you have a debt of like £5 or £10, and then you have like a massive debt of like, I don't know, £1,000 or something like that. You'd pay off the £5 or £10 debt just to go, okay, phew, what a relief, that one's out of the way, now on to the next one. Again, it depends on how you want to do it. Choose one of the strategies and stick to that and make it your priority. Any excess money that you're able to get, then put it into that debt, get it paid off, and you can move on to the next step after that. The next step after paying off all your debt is to build up your emergency fund so it's at a level where you're happy with it. So for me, this is approximately 6 to 8 months, but depending on how secure you wish to be and how risky you want to be, you can have this up to 12 months. You can have it even longer if you want to, but make sure that you have an emergency fund so that if your circumstances do dramatically change, it depends on how secure you feel, that you can cover yourself for 6 to 12 months of expenditure. And again, you can refer back to your budget, make sure that that's not changed and that the money that you need is still the same. The next step after you have built up a bigger emergency fund is to assess your financial goals. So at this point, you've kind of got rid of the major things that are kind of overbearing you and, playing on your mind. Your next step is to look at the goals and what do you actually want to achieve? What are your financial goals, certainly within the short term and within the long term? And then you can start to put a plan together on how to do these. If you have not bought a house yet and you're aged between 18 and 39 and you're thinking about buying a house in the future, then I would strongly advise you to get a lifetime ISA. This is a scheme where you get a free 25% back on your investments and you can get up to £1,000 per year for free. And I've done a couple of videos up there on lifetime ISAs which you can check out more information. And there's also a lot more information and schemes which the government is doing, as well as schemes out there from the Money Advice Service, which will tell you all about how you can save to buy up a house. So if that's your main thing for now, then you can save towards that, make that your main priority. If not, put your money and apportion that according to what your goals are. If at this stage you look at your finances and you say, okay, well, I don't have enough to kind of work towards what I want to work towards and achieve those goals, then see if you can find some sort of side hustle at the moment. So for me at the moment, this is my kind of side hustle, I guess, doing a little YouTube channel. You could set up your own Etsy business. You could set up your own full business. You could do drop shipping. I'm not going to go into all the sketchy details and things which happen out there. You could set up a social media page. There's loads of little things that you can do, but do something which suits your interest. If that's going to make you achieve your financial goals or get you closer to achieving your financial goals, then definitely do something like that, which is interesting to you and which you do not mind putting your effort into. After you've looked at your side hustle and you've assessed your short-term goals, you might want to look at a stocks and shares ISA. Especially if you're in the UK, this can be a really, really great way to get some gains, to work towards your long-term financial goals, and to make the most of that in a tax-efficient way. So if you want to kind of learn the fundamentals of investing, if finance is something that you're interested in, then you could look at learning, all about investing and investing into individual stocks and shares. If, however, you're not that into kind of investing or you're not into finance, that's totally cool. But there are a lot of different ways that you could do this nice and easily. So the best way to do this is probably to look at an ETF or an index fund which tracks an index. So for example, you could go into the S&P 500, which is the largest 500 companies in America, or the FTSE 100, the largest 100 companies in the UK, and just put your money in there every month or every week or however often you want to do it. And watch it grow over time. And this is called pound cost averaging. This is a very kind of hands-off way to grow your wealth over the long term. And also by doing this kind of passive method, you don't have to worry about anyone managing your money. It's very, very passive. Normally it's pretty cheap as well because you don't have huge fees. And if you're looking to kind of get involved in stocks and shares ISA, I'm planning to do a video on that shortly. So make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out for that. And finally, the final step in organizing your finances, once you've got stocks and shares ISA, you've assessed your financial goals, you've paid off your debt, you've got your emergency fund built up, and you have your budget, is to look super long term and potentially look at your pension. So the more that you can do and contribute towards your pension, especially if this is something that you want to kind of make the most of and you're planning to retire early, then the better position that you're going to be in. So first and foremost, if you have a workplace pension, make sure you look at that, see what you're getting, and if the employer will match you and your contributions a bit more than you currently are doing, always make sure you do that. You want to maximize your contributions because anything that the employer will give you on top of what you're currently getting and what is kind of, the standard, that's going to improve your chances further down the line. And also it's basically free money. If an employer is going to match you, you're doubling your money and you're doubling your investment, which you're not going to get elsewhere. Of course, this is specific to your particular pension and your particular employer, so always have a read of that. And if you need to seek financial advice, then always do. An alternative, and I guess if this is you've kind of finished everything else, you've done your employer pension, you've done all of that stuff, is a self-invested personal pension, or a SIP. This allows you to invest into different funds, and it's within a pension wrapper, so it's tax-free, and well, it's tax-free until you take it out anyway. And this allows you to invest in different funds until the age of 55, where currently you can take money out of it. So if you're planning for early retirement and you want to kind of invest some additional funds, you want to put it into a tax efficient method, then this could be a great way for you. And to allow for that compound interest, the more that you can put in, the better. And again, you can put that into various different funds. You could even follow a similar approach to the stocks and shares ISA, just putting it into some passive funds, which you don't have to worry about, kind of invest and forget about it. So that is pretty much the overall guide, simple guide, step by step to organizing your personal finance in the UK. I hope that this has been useful. I wish you all the best on your journey. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comment section below. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.